Test 1, 2.
Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and I'm not too sure how this recording is going right now. My editor is lagging, as per usual. This may have to be re-recorded, but in any case, welcome to the Comix Zone Commentary, a game released from 1995 on the Sega Mega Drive, and it is one of my personal favourite Mega Drive games of all time. Not only does it have a sick-as-hell grunge aesthetic, as you can tell with that Mega Drive music, but in turn, it is also a very stylized comic that is absolutely drenched in mid-90s grunge-era cheesiness that I can dig like a shallow grave. See, look at me, we've got what's obviously meant to be vanilla Coke, with a, that soda can over there. We got a totally radical rodent, dude! And, it's all about comic books, man! What more could you need? So, let's start the game, my bodacious babes! New York City, present day. The dark twist, something mysterious going on. But in any case, yes, this is Sketch Turner, comic book artist, grunge rockin' dude. Look at me, Sketch. I am a drawing, but I'll be real soon enough. As soon as you're dead. I couldn't read the rest of that fast enough in time. Have a nice trip, see you next fall. But, yeah, the basic premise of the game is that during a freak lightning storm in New York one year, basically, Sketch Turner, comic book artist who was pretty much designing his own, comic book series, the villain of that franchise, Mortis, ended up coming to life, and, well, basically, in the effort to become flesh and bone, he needs to kill Sketch and destroy the comic book so that Mortis can then use his supernatural powers to dominate the real world. So, as such, he sucks Sketch into his own comic book, and, well, as we're seeing with the internal premise right here, this is basically a post-apocalyptic hellscape where, again, General Alissa Cyan, who's pretty much the woman giving us our missions right now, is basically turning Sketch into, well, the superhero that he's designing for his comic book. Yeah, there are only really, like, a few bits and pieces here and there of the internal Comix Zone mythology, but basically, Sketch is going to become the hero of his own story. Much like Orin, this is his story, and you're not a part of it. But basically, we have some items for the road, and I'm more or less just sort of dancing around to the rockin' grunge music in Mega Drive style, and we've got a few items to help us on our way. But before we decide to leave the command center, let's give Alissa a little bit of a parting gift. Smell you later, babe! Yes, indeed, if you press down enough on the D-pad, yes, you can in fact get Sketch to fart. Why? Because, I don't know, like most radical 90s humor, bro! Fart noises! But yes, in any case, now that we're in the city good and proper, what is the Comix Zone? Well, it's essentially a beat-em-up game. You basically have a... Well, how do I put this? It's not like Streets of Rage in the sense that, you have a few moves at your disposal, but, you basically just have a set of punches, repeated combos. You can basically have a lower attack as you sweep your foot round and round, or you can use, basically Sketch's uppercut, and you do at least have a few abilities if you're, you get into a certain combo utilizing your feet, or combo utilizing your, punches, really. Yeah, excuse me. I needed to belch, but I suppressed the act. But yes, also part of Comix Zone's gameplay formula, multiple pathways. So yeah, each of your experiences can basically have your own little unique twist. You can either go down there and skip the little segment over here, or you can try and go around the beaten path and find a few hidden goodies, or potentially some items that may help you throughout the flow of gameplay. Which does also add a little bit more dimensions towards Comix Zone's gameplay department. Again, this isn't strictly just a beat-em-up going from left to right, or right to left, as would be the Japanese version of Comix Zone. Manga Zone? Whatever. But in this case, it's also about, well, finding items that you can use in order to help out in the flow of gameplay. In this case, with, Sketch's little buddy, Roadkill. That little rodent we saw in the options menu? Well, he has a place in the gameplay. And, Yes, Comix Zone is basically what I call a puzzle-oriented beat-em-up. It utilizes the framework of a comic book, except, as is being demonstrated here, you're utilizing your abilities and, well, your wits and brains to solve a puzzle. Just as soon as I can get a hold of that switch. Because door, switch. It's a no-brainer, dude! Totally Brainiac Central! So yeah, not all the puzzles are going to be as easy as this, but there are a few deficiencies in the sense that, what do I do here? Well, I mean, I could either utilize, you know, my explosives to destroy the barrels, or instead, well, yeah, I can just punch through the barrels. I know that sounds a little bit more basic than what you'd otherwise be expecting, but there is a reason for that. Namely in the sense of, well, first of all, I'll talk about Strigil. We'll see him a little bit later, so yeah, I'll talk about his abilities then, but in the meantime, though, yeah, apparently Sketch's own creations don't really fancy him very much, so...
Yo dear, I guess this is what would happen if you ever met God. You just want to punch him in the face, or tell him to burn, by shooting him with fire.
But in any case, I guess I'll point it out, you know, when it's slightly more relevant, but, yeah, again, this is pretty much explaining the very basic puzzle aspects of the game right then and there. Use box to reach switch, and again, warning explosive, so bada bing, you do the thing, utilize explosives, otherwise you'll get majorly hurt, and, well, yeah. Speaking of getting hurt, as we use Roadkill to search for a few other items, sometimes you'll find some things for you to use, other times you'll just sort of, wander about a little bit, and it's pretty much the breaks. But yeah, you notice when we destroyed that little sewage grate right over there, a sliver of Sketch's health ended up getting diminished. Yeah, one of the worst aspects of Comix Zone, and a fucking bizarre, fucking baffling as hell oversight, is that, yeah, when you punch stationary objects like, you know, sewage grates, barrels, rocks, or pretty much anything else really apart from enemies, yeah, for whatever reason you lose health. Who exactly came up with that idea needs to be punched in the face with a power slam! Because, honestly, that is some fucking pants-on-head ridiculous game design, and... it's irritating, really. I understand some beat-em-ups do have that whole thing of, like, oh no, to use a special attack, it'll take a bit of your health away. You know, kind of similar to Streets of Rage 2 and 3, which, you know, Comix Zone does have as well, and you will be seeing it at some point in the future, but... honestly, I don't understand why that's a thing. But in any case, we finished the first page of episode 1. And yeah, this is pretty much, I don't know if you get anything for completing the superhero meter, but, yeah. Either way, it's basically showing your progression towards the end of the game, and, Comix Zone is a fairly short game, but, you know, to further talk about, you know, puzzle aspects, you could either beat down that door, or use the explosives to take care of it.
Dynamite.
But yeah, as I mentioned beforehand, this game does want you to rely on some of the puzzle aspects of the gameplay, because if you don't, you're going to be running very low on health, and while you do have a few health drinks, basically being that thing in the middle of Sketch's inventory right next to Roadkill, yeah, you're going to find yourself very short on health, and I just want to point out here, for a game made in 1995, only 2 lives, no checkpoints, so again, if you die on one page, you're right back at the beginning. And again, if you lose your 2 lives, no continues, you're right back at the beginning of the game. So yeah, Comix Zone, by proxy of some rather, well, harsh, you know, set of circumstances, and indeed because of the fact that, well, I guess partially because it was a very short game to begin with, yeah, you kind of need to bring your A game, because otherwise, well, you're gonna crash and burn.
Or get chopped up into pepperoni, dude!
So that's why I need Rodent to stop the fans, and, well yeah, oh, shucky darns, we don't have any more things to stop us from getting past the fans easy. So yeah, you pretty much have no choice but to beat your way through stationary objects that still hurt you. Again, something they should have thought about in the design, but... I don't know, that's really gonna be my one running bugbear throughout Comix Zone, really. I mean, there are, like, you know, combat segments which, you know, can be a fairly decent challenge, you know, in terms of how enemies react to, you know, Sketch's attacks, and how they will catch onto your strategies and, you know, will adequately block if you're relying on dominant strategy. So, again, the game does have intelligent bits of design, it's just that somebody was thinking, like, Dad, what if you punch a wooden block and then you got hurt, like that time I tried to punch wood in my house and then my fist got bleeding? Anyway. I gotta calm down now. Facetiousness aside, but, in any case though, just talking a little bit further about other aspects of Comix Zone. Yeah, this game was developed in 1995 by the Sega Technical Institute, which might sound a bit familiar to some people famously, you know, associated with the whole Sonic Extreme cancellation. Yeah, it wasn't Sonic Team working on Sonic Extreme, it was, this very team that developed Comix Zone as well as the Ooze, dude! But more importantly than that, these were also developers that were also the American branch of, Sonic Team, while they were developing Sonic the Hedgehog 2 through Sonic & Knuckles. So yeah, they had fairly close ties with Sega. I mean, obviously it's in their name as the Technical Institute, which is the institute that I wanted to go to growing up. I remember when I was a child, it was like, when I grow up, if I can't get into Bovine University, I want to go to the Sega Technical Institute of America. But yeah, this was, I believe the last game that, it was either this one or the U's, but yeah, one of the last games they released before getting shut down, primarily because of Sonic Extreme's fucky development cycle. Which is a damn shame, really, because, I mean, again, as you're seeing right here, you know, with the puzzle brawler gameplay style of Comix Zone, again, it's clear that these developers did have a fair amount of, you know, talent behind them. It's just that, unfortunately, they're either shafted to work on just fucking shitey projects that no one really gives a fuck about, see Sonic Spinball, or, you know, just sort of relegated to basically being treated poorly by Sega of Japan staff. Yeah, by the way, one of Sketch's ultimate attacks is actually, you know, ripping a part of his comic book apart and using that as a paper plane to deal some massive damage towards enemies. But again, as you're seeing here, it does end up causing some massive damage towards your person, so, yeah, don't do it, and when your health is in the red, yeah, if you try and do that whole paper plane Motron again, well, basically Sketch is pretty much like, I'm too weak, dude! I totally cannot summon the radical energy, man! So yeah, hence the need for health drinks. But yeah, that is part of why Roadkill is rather important to have. Again, not only is he your little buddy, but yeah, he can also find items for you. Like a delicious health drink. Truly Harry Mason and every Silent Hill protagonist worth their salt owes much to Sketch Turner and his health drinking ways. But yeah, this also extends to some of the bosses also being very puzzle based. Again, you could potentially beat this thing up if you wanted to. I've personally never tried, but instead what you're meant to do, light the barrel on fire, yeah, and basically just keep them nice and warm. Because after all, it's the end of the world as we know it, and this dragon doesn't feel fine, just burning his butt off. But yeah, basically we melt the secret of the ooze, and well, that pretty much does it for episode 1. Fairly short parts, but I'll see you next time, because on that note, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and, well, off to episode 2. So, catch you dudes and dudettes later. Peace out, man!